How's it going, my friends? DemonDriver here. Thank you for joining me. And I'm working here on my Lufthansa Airbus A300, and I'm going to be adding her tail to her in this video. I'm going to add her tail to her fuselage. I'm going to show you how I do that, and I'm going to show you how the techniques that I use, and basically how you can also, kind of tweak what I do into how you build, and maybe you can pick up a couple pointers. But that's what we're going to do in this video. We're going to stick this tail on this A300, Lufthansa A300, circa early mid-70s paint scheme. And that's what I do right now, okay? Come on, let's get working. Thank you for joining me. I'm always happy and I'm always honored when you guys are here with me when I build. Okay, come on, let's get working. Thank you. Okay, so here is our just primed Airbus A300 fuselage. This is exactly the same size and Airbus as the American that I built for a customer about 5 years ago. Believe it or not, when I made that, I made two other fuselage tubes. So this fuselage tube is about maybe 5 years old. So I'm using it, instead of just throwing it out, I'm actually using it. You see, it's made with the old construction of the old pink foam backbone, reinforced the carbon fiber rod. But what I've done is I've modernized it a bit with a lightweight styrofoam nose section and a lightweight styrofoam tail section. But basically this is an all new white styrofoam tail nose section, hollowed out, and it is really lightweight, light styrofoam, and it has really made this fuselage of this A300 incredibly light. This type of white foam is 50% lighter than the same exact pink foam or blue foam from older builds of mine. I wanted to use this fuse tube that I had made rather than throw it away. So I thought to myself, just made it with a new nose section, new tail section. Now, these are hand carved. This is a hand carved A300 nose section, hand carved tail section by me. And I have an A310 which has the same nose and tail section fuselage wise, and I'm going to mold those. So I have an A300 nose mold and tail mold, which consequently, believe it or not, is the same for the A330 and the A340. The A300, A310, A330, and A340 all have the same nose section, fuselage diameter, tail section, and the tail. And this is what a lot of people don't know, and maybe a lot of people do know this, is that the A300's tail is the same as the A310, the rudder tails, the A310, A330, and A340. They all share the same exact, basically the same rudder. Now, I didn't think you guys knew. Here's an A300, here's an A340 200. Now, the A300 and the A330 and A340 and A310 share the same exact nose section, same fuselage cross section, okay? Same tail sections. Basically, the A300 and the A310 have the same exact fuselage tail section. Now the difference is between the A330, A340, and the A300 is the size of the stabilizer. You see how much larger the stabilizer is on the A340 and A330. Now, of course, the A340 is a much larger airplane, has a larger wingspan, has 4 engines, but basically what Airbus did was they took the A300 and they just enlarged it to the A330 with a larger wingspan, more powerful engines, longer fuselage, and then went from that to the A340, which has a much larger wing, greater wing sweep, greater wingspan. But when you really think about it, the A300, the A310 have a lot in common with the A330 and 40. As I said, same nose sections, same fuselage cross section, same tail sections, same rudder is the same. It's just the wing box, or the wing center section, stabilizer, elevator is the difference. That's it. Other than that, the A340 is really just basically an enlarged A300. That's what a lot of people just don't know. Alright, enough of the fun facts, let's get back to the build. Alright, let's get right to the build here. I got my hat cam on. Here's the A300, Lufthansa A300. Now this is just primer, this plane is still a work in progress. So before I do all the finishing work, I at least want to get the tail on, and that helps everything out. So let's move her out into the open where it's a little bit brighter. Sun's going down here, so I want to be able to get this done. I got some, I had a primer base underneath here and it's bleeding through. I don't know what it is, man. It's some kind of, I don't know what the hell it is. I don't know what that stuff is, but I gotta put some more primer over that. Not a big deal, it's all part of the build. Alright, so the first thing I have done, I take a pencil and I've marked off where the end of the rudder is going to be, and it ends right about there. So I take a pencil and I get the exact center line. I mark off the exact center line of the A300's exact tail, and then what I'm going to do is I want to mark off the center of the circumference of the fuselage tube so that my line, my base line or mounting line for the stabilizer is perfectly straight, so that when it's mounted perfectly straight down the center line and not crooked. One of the most dangerous things you can do is when you mount your rudder, or one of the dangerous flaws you can do is when you mount your rudder, it's crooked to either side, and your plane is always going to, if it's that way, your plane's always going to want to turn to the right. If it's this way, it's always going to want to turn to the left. So you always want to have the rudder as straight as you can, humanly possible, down the center line of your airliner. Again, if you don't, all you're going to do is you're going to basically have a disaster, aka catastrophe, on your hands. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to get a fixed curve ruler. This is from Stadler. This is it's a ruler that's a curved ruler that you can use to contour. It's a contouring ruler, and it comes in pretty handy. And it's a simple tool. It's not that complex. They're easy to buy, easy to find. $5, $10, whatever. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line everything up and get her straight down on the table, and go ahead and see what we got. Make sure that's mounted. And then what we can do is we can come up with a center point. We can come up with a center point for everything. And our center point is almost at the 16. Almost at the 16. So, as we know, 8 and 8 equals 16, so we're about 2 centimeters before 16. So, make sure that's right. Hope you're not getting dizzy here, because you guys are basically sitting on my head, so you're getting a Full builder's view is how I do things. So we're going to go 2 before the 8. And that should be our center line. Or except 1 before the 8. Should be our center line right there. Right there. Boom. And I can see that line. Now if that's inaccurate, I'm going to keep checking it. I'm going to eyeball it a couple times just to make sure. I'm going to hold that where it needs to be. And I'm just going to eyeball it. Right there. So that's not accurate. That's more accurate right there. So I'm going to hold that just where it is. I'm going 1 click before the 8. You see where I'm going? This is why this is... I mean, I'm very particular with detail. I try and really get stuff as close to as perfect as I can get it. Right there. And of course I'm not even getting a... I can see that though. That's the good part. Alright. One of the tricks I'm going to show you right now that I use is a laser level, and it really comes in handy. Laser levels really come in handy, guys, I'm telling you. And I'm going to use that right now. So let me go ahead and put the A300 back over here. And let me show you something. Gently move this over here. I'm going to show you 2 tricks. If you don't have a laser level, I'll show you what you can also do. Now, I got my line, I got my mounting line, or base line, okay? This is the line that the rudder is going to ride on when it's mounted. So let's go ahead and move this out of the way. This has done its job. We don't need that anymore. So here is a laser level. This is a DeWalt laser level, okay? And let me give you a demonstration how it works. You have it on a tripod, which is the best thing to do. Go ahead and turn it on. See? This is a laser level. As long as it's pretty much within a certain parameter, it will self-level. It'll self-level. Okay? Now if it's out of whack, it can't level. You have to get it within a certain a certain area, certain tolerance in order for it to level. Look at this, it looks like we're targeting things to shoot them. Target that. There. Target that. Right there with the laser. Isn't that incredible? No, but let's get back to what I was saying. So what I can do with this is, look what I can do. I can use this as long as I have a relatively good mounting point. I can move the A300 into position and use this laser level to basically create a baseline without having to use other tools. So let me line this up. And there's our baseline. Hang on. You see, I hope you can see this with the camera. I really hope that you can see what's going on here. See, I got my pencil mark there, and I'm going to line my pencil mark up with the line that I made. Which is easier said than done, but a little bit off. But this tool can be used for 2 different things, both of which I'm going to show you in this video. The only bad thing about these things is you gotta watch. You basically have to watch the tripod. You have to be very careful with it. There we go. Now we're almost centered. Let's line this up. The one thing I don't want to do is look at the laser. Got to be real careful. See the line? I'm lining up that mark with the line over there, and that's going to be my baseline. All right, that's not there yet. Boom. There we are, right on it. That's where I want to be, and I'm basically centered. There we go. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a pen and I'm going to mark off where the tail is going to run. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to see exactly, so from there to there. Okay. See what I'm doing? I'm lining everything up. So I take my pen and I very gently, first of all I want to make sure the ink is running, so I do a couple of test marks to make sure that the ink is running. So I do a line right here. Boom. Boom. Very crucial that you line everything up and keep it lined up, or you're going to screw everything up. Alright. See what I'm doing? I'm taking the pen and I'm drawing right down the laser line. There's mine. There it is. This is high technology right here, folks. I just don't want to look at the laser because I don't want to hurt my vision. You can screw up your eyesight if you do that. See, there's the laser line, giving me a perfect line right down the fuselage. The key is, with doing this, don't move anything. Keep everything nice and straight. Now, let's pretend you live in a world where you don't have a laser level like this. Let's say you don't own this. Okay? Let's shut this off. Let's put this over here so it's nice, safe, and sound, because these things are pretty expensive. Alright, let's say you don't have a laser level. What do? You take a long ruler like this. The first thing you do is you take your line, make your little mark at the very tip of the tail, the center, and then do what I did. Go ahead and make your center circumference line right there. And then you take a long ruler, and sometimes this is easier depending on how, I mean, you know, it all depends on the kind of person you are and how you are with tools, you know. And you line that sucker up, and that's what you do. And there you go. You just draw down the line. You draw down the line much like that. And I can use this now. Right now I can use this and show you how to make the baseline even if you don't have a laser level like I have. You don't need one. You don't need one. Laser level is a fancy tool. It's a nice thing to have, but if you don't have it, you don't need it. So I just gently create a line with the pen straight down the center, just like that, and that's my baseline. I have to use the ruler anyway in order to create the baseline. And there we are. There's the baseline. See? Now, we're going to have two steps. We're going to drill the holes, and then we're going to mount it. But this bucket tray is going to come in handy. I'm going to show you what to do, and I'm going to show you how to use this thingamajig. This is a special, I think this is some kind of sewing thing, some kind of pattern thing. I found it in Walmart and I just said, this is perfect for what I need. But I'm going to use it. I'm going to show you how that's used. Comes in real handy. So let's go ahead and let's take our Lufthansa A300 rudder. Now, we go ahead and for this we can use a pen, but this is very important what I'm about to do. I'm going to line up this is carbon fiber rods, for those of you who don't know. This is carbon fiber rods, and there's something I can see right off the bat. I've got to cut that one shorter, because yeah, that'll go right through the thing. All right, let me cut this down short. A little bit of dust. I'm very aware of dust and things like that. You got to be really careful with dust, my friends. You got to be very on your feet with that kind of stuff, because you can mess up your lungs, so be careful. All right. Now that that's cut shorter, we're good to go. These are carbon fiber rods. They run through the entire length of the A300's tail, giving tremendous strength. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the rudder with the fuselage. I got what I call my mounting baseline. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to line up the carbon fiber rod holes with the baseline. You see? These are where the holes are going to be put. And I line up where the front of the rudder starts. So from here to there, and I actually should have used the pencil for that, but it'll be okay. Anything where you're marking out on the fuselage, you have to use a pencil, because you can erase the line. Like back there, pencil. Don't use a pen, because if you use a pen, you're going to have to use like a magic eraser to get rid of it. So we go ahead and we mark off where our carbon fiber rods are going to go. Now, something important you have to notice: the rods are not centered exactly center with the rudder's width. They're off to the side. So what we need to do is, that's our center line. So our rods are going to be to the right of the center line. Right there. And right there. Okay, so if we went center, what's going to happen is the rudder is going to be pushed over. You understand? It's not going to ride down the center of the fuse if we took the rods and put them in the center, because they're not centered. They're off to the right. So we have to move the rod holes to the right. Okay? Now that we got those marked off, what we're going to do is we're going to take an ice pick like this, or you can use a screwdriver. You can use a screwdriver if you want, or you can use like a brush handle of a wooden brush and jab that through. So what I mainly want to do is I want to get an idea for the angle of the rods. So the rods are going down about that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold that like that, come in and line it up straight, push straight in as I can, straight into the foam. See that? I'm jabbing in straight in. Boom. Doing the same thing with the front. I jab straight in like that. And I stab it and I go straight. Not to an angle, because then your tail rudder is going to be crooked. When you try and mount it, it's going to be crooked. Alright, so let's go ahead and let's see how well. Well, I know for a fact that this hole is going to have to be wider, so let's watch what I do. I go ahead and take a long threaded drill bit. And the good thing about this is this can give you leeway. This can make things so you can move things around. When you mount this, you can move things around and get a bigger hole, so you can kind of finesse the tail to get it where you want it. Sometimes if it's a little bit crooked to one side or crooked to the left or the right, you can use a wider hole so you can kind of move it around while the epoxy is setting. So let's go ahead and make this hole a little bit wider, very carefully, very gently. Let's drill this in, all the while being conscious of being straight, you know what I'm saying? We don't want to go too far in because we don't want to go too far in because we don't want to basically strip all the way down to the bottom of the fuse, because that, you know, you'll make a hole, you'll puncture things, and then you'll really be up the creek, as they say. So let's go ahead and do the same one. Let's do the same one with this. Let's be careful now. I don't want to tear too much of the... I don't want to make the hole too big. So this is all done by hand. Very gentle, you just finesse it. Very good. There you go. I have a bottle of compressed air around here somewhere. Oh, here it is. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and let's see how it fits in. Let's see how it goes. Woo! Look at that. Ooh, like a glove. Oh, yeah. Remember I told you about the finessing part? You see, it's a little bit crooked. There you go. Look at that. Look at that, man. Woo! That went in smooth. That's the smoothest. I'm pretty happy with that. That's the smoothest I've ever slid one in. Look at that, man. Look at that. Nice. Perfect. Oh yeah, look at that, man. Lined up perfectly. I'm liking that, man. Check that out. Let's get a look at this. Oh yeah, let's have a look at this. Oh yeah. That looks good. Yeah. Let's line this up and let's eyeball things and just see how it looks to the eye. Let's get some flat ground here. Okay. Look at that. That looks really good. That is pretty, God almighty, that's straight. Oh yeah. She's a little bit crooked to that side by about 1 millimeter. So I'm going to bring her back that way a little bit. Look at that. That is really good. Now see that it's perfect now? What I don't want to do is mess with it too much. All I need to do is just bring it a little bit that way. That's all I need to do. Just a little bit that way. Good. Perfect. That is excellent. Okay. Now remember I showed you that? Okay. Let me get all this junk out of the way. I'm going to show you something here. This is where this thing comes into play. Now, make sure you have pretty much a flat table. This is flat, weighted down. This is a Tupperware bin. It's straight across and it gives me a flat, level surface. You can use other things, that's fine. I don't necessarily care about that. To each his own, you know? To each his own. It's all good. Use whatever you want to use. Alright, let's get a couple of needles here. That looks really good. Look at that. Oh, I love it. That is a good looking plane. And it's not even, doesn't even have a livery on it yet, just a tail. And I love it. I'm falling in love already. Okay. I'm going to show you what this is used for. And while we're at it, let's get our laser level over here as well. Let me get some water. I'm thirsty as hell. Whew. All right. We are going to get right down to business. We're going to mount that sucker. We're going to mount that girl. Now, right off the bat, I'm going to take a pen. Actually, I should take a pencil because I don't want to make a mark that I can't get rid of. I need to get this tail over a little bit to here. Right there. So that's where I'm gonna take a needle and stick that straight in there. So let's take this whole A300 and let's stick it on this platform on this table. Watch what I'm gonna do. Let's go ahead and stick this puppy, this big Deutsch Fräulein right here, this German maiden, and stick her right over here. Fits in there perfectly. Look at that. Now see, here's the thing. The table, make sure the table is straight up and down. The table is the baseline, okay? The table is the baseline for everything. Not the ground, the table, and the bucket, and the plane. Now right now I know that the plane is perfectly centered and straight up and down on the table, on the platform. The fuselage is centered. Now I also know that the tail needs to be crooked a little bit this way. Made these mental notes in my head. Got myself my needles. I got this tool. Now what do you think this is done? What do you think I'm gonna do with this? What I do with this is I take this and I use it as a grid and I plan it just like this and I eyeball it with my eyeball, with my eyes, with the old Mark I eyeball. Let's move this up a little bit. And I eyeball it and I take this and I use this plastic grid as an a meter to see whether the tail is crooked or not. Now you can use a secondary method, and that is this. I come in with this laser level, and now I really got something. Now I got a second level of, gotta turn this on. There we go. See what I'm doing here? Now the problem here is that the laser level is not on the table, so it may not give me, the laser level is not exactly going to give me the level that I want, because it's not level with the table. The table is actually going this way a little bit, so the ground, so this is why sometimes a laser level doesn't always work when you're doing this. So actually in this case I would have to have the laser level on the table, and that's not exactly going to work, is it? No. So what I actually have to do, believe it or not, is get the laser level kind of crooked. If whoever's confused right now, you can go ahead and put your hands in the air, because I can understand how you're confused. But do you see what I'm doing? The laser level and the table are not connected. If the table came back and I popped the laser level down on it, then it would be perfectly level and everything would be hunky-dory. It's pretty damn close right now. It's pretty freaking close. So let's just leave that like that. There we go. Nice, nice, nice. Beautiful. This is high-tech in a way. It's, you know, there's probably some people in Switzerland and Germany and Luxembourg and Switzerland who are probably throwing up right now, but let me tell you something, my friends, this works really well. So let me shut this off. Okay, we don't need that anymore. Mainly what I'm going to do is, this is going to work just as good as the laser for this application. So let's go ahead and let's get let's mix up the glue and let's mount this bitch. Let's get this tail on this girl. So what I'm gonna use is I'm gonna use 2 separate epoxies. This is JB Weld plastic bonder, 15 minute. This is new stuff on the market. Good stuff, really good stuff. Now, I only have 1 rubber glove on. I have 1 rubber glove left, so I have to use this stupid thing. All right, let's mix up a little bit. We're gonna put this on the carbon fiber rods that are gonna fit down into the fuse, and then we're gonna put 5-minute Bob Smith epoxy on the fuselage end of things. All right, so I'm gonna do 2 things. So let's get some brushes. You want to talk about? Look at this. I look like, oh my god, I look like a mongrel here. Well, this is what you call the. For this, you don't need this. I don't need gloves for 5-minute Bob Smith. Just don't ingest it. Don't. If you have a cut or something, don't get it into a cut, and don't eat it. Don't drink it. Don't get it into your body, obviously. All right, we're gonna get a little bit of this. Then we're gonna get some of this stuff. So let's first get the. Let's very gently get the. I'm stunned how easy that girl went in there. Look at that, man. Whew, I'm loving that. All right, let's go ahead and take the 5-minute JB Weld. All right, now the key with this is you got to make sure you get it out evenly. It's a pressing like a syringe, so you got to get it up. There we go. Get it out as even as you can. That's about enough. That's all we need. Let's go ahead and gently put the cap back on. When the manufacturer says, "Hey, don't get this on your skin," and it puts it right on the bottle, "Don't get this on your skin," then my preference to you is, or my message to you is, then don't do it. Don't get it on your skin. All right, let's go ahead and mix it up. This is pretty good stuff. The only problem with it expands a little bit, kind of like Gorilla Glue, but in this case, it's good. It's a really great plastic bonder. It's a really great lightweight material for this case. It's getting a little dark. I apologize for that. The lights are going to kick on soon. I have outdoor patio lights, so they're going to kick on in a few minutes, so don't worry. The one thing I got to remember not to do is when you do this, never put any epoxy on the rudder section itself, on the moving rudder section. Only on the portions that don't move. All right, here we go. So when we do this, we got to go quick. First thing we want to do, I don't want to get epoxy on the goddamn rudder, so let me take this off for now. I'm just going to be very careful. All right, this is where you got to be careful, because you don't want to get this stuff on the actual surface. So on your monocoat or ultra coat, or your paint. So let's just go ahead and, there we go. Let's brush that on there like that. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. All right, let's brush it all the way around the carbon fiber rod like that, and then we take the 5-minute Bob Smith and we're gonna put that stuff right on here. Very gentle, nice and easy, just like that. Not on the rudder portion that moves. You don't want to do that. We just brush it on, nice and smooth, nice and easy, a nice even coat, not too much. You don't want to go too crazy, because if you do, it's just going to make life, it's going to drip all over the place, it's going to make drip marks and whatever. All right, now we're going to mount it. Here we go. Let's be straight and accurate. Let's try not to get too much of it all over the place. Let's be careful. All right, here we go. And it's doing what I always thought it would. There we go. It's gonna, there we go. Boom. All right, now I gotta get in there and I gotta get some of that stuff out of there. Do you see the excess? All right. All right. I gotta be careful. I don't want to get any of this stuff on me. So I gotta come in. Actually, I'll use some of this. Let me mount that down, and I gotta get that out of there. See that excess? I gotta get that out. Gotta get that out of there, because it's just gonna screw everything up. Boom. All right, that about does it. Okay. Now, remember I told you that it's crooked, that I gotta move that way a little bit. I gotta get the baseline, the beginning of the rudder, I gotta move it over a little bit. So what I do is I take a needle, and I just, there we go, stick that needle right through, and stick 2 in for good measure. There we go, boom. There we are. Now, let's plant that down. Still got a little bit coming up. Alright. That is popping up a little bit. I don't want that going down, so I want this damn thing to stay where it is. So what I'm going to have to do is I got to weigh this down with something. Weigh this down with something. Anything. You put some foam down so it doesn't hurt it. So let's go ahead and weigh this down. Let's straight. Alright, we're getting in there. See that little bead line? Here, I gotta get rid of that. Gotta get rid of that. There we go. Nice. Perfect. Alright, this is where the grid comes in. Remember the grid? Let's stick the grid, line it up perfectly, and let's see what we got. You line the grid up with your eyeball with the alright, let's see what we got here, Chris. Line it up, and we're a little bit crooked to the left, so we gotta bring it, we gotta move it a little bit to the left. There we go. That's pretty damn close. There we are. Oh, yep. You see what the grid is? You see what I'm doing? I use this to line everything up. The tail and the rudder and the fuselage, everything. And if it's crooked, I'm going to see it. It's going to be obvious because you close one of your eyes. Right now, I only have my right eye open. And I'm going straight in. And I'm going up and down. And I'm looking at everything. And I'm also making sure that everything's getting contact. And I got a little blister there. So let me get in there. Let me get rid of that. There we go. There we are. Look at that. It's going on there pretty good. Now I'm going to mush this down with my hand. There we go. You got to flatten it down. So I'm going to take a piece of tape. There we go. There we go. That piece of tape there. That's going to help. So let's just make sure that everything is straight. And it is. Everything is straight. Look at that. Do you see where this thing comes? This is a... People who, like, do sewing. This is some kind of pattern thingamajig. I don't know what the hell it is, but people who sew know what this is. But for me, it is a rudder tail alignment tool. That's what I use it for. I don't give a damn. I don't care about crocheting or needlework. I care about getting my tails on my airliners, man. That's all I care about. So that's how we do that. So we're going to let the paint set. Not the paint. I'm going to let the epoxy set. Give it about a good 15-20 minutes. And then that is rock solid. Now what I'm going to do is later on, I'm going to come in from below and take 2 balsa blocks and stick them up around the carbon fiber rods. Alright? And what that's going to do is that's going to create 2 anchors to really anchor the rods down in so they don't move around, so the whole tail won't do this. Now it's pretty strong in there right now. This is about, what you see in front of you is about 10 times more stronger than a card model. Okay? I can walk up to a card model, grab the tail and rip it right off. I walk up to this and try and tear this off, the whole fuse is going to turn and rotate and it's not going to come off. Okay? It's on there. Carbon fiber rod straight through. Carbon fiber rod inside the tail. down the fuselage, in the nose. This plane is rock solid. There we go. Look at that. Huh? Isn't that nice? Perfect. A300 Lufthansa tail made it to our fuselage, and that is how I do it. That's how I mount my rudder stabilizers to my fuselages. It's pretty easy, pretty straightforward, and I hope you watched the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you maybe learned something or found a little pointer you can use in your builds. Alright, this is DemonDriver. Thank you for watching. If you like what you see, please subscribe. I'm honored to have you. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.